Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. It is August 7th, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about some stitching I've done so far this morning. Well, first, let's talk about my bingo call. My bingo call for this morning was to stitch on one of my Christmas in July projects. So I pulled out Noel Angel. And I pulled out Noel Angel because I'm using Noel Angel for a prompt. It is in the magazine monthly challenge group. The word is linen, and there were 2 N's in there. So for the last N, I chose Noel Angel so I could put some more stitches in her. And that's what she looks like, and I'm stitching her just the heart part. I'm not doing all of the border around her. But I put in 110 stitches today, and I'll tell you what I did. You can see part of it. I did the darkest color in this sleeve and part of this sleeve. But what I really did that took the time this morning is I took my working copy, because I started this piece at a stitch retreat with my friends. And it was one of my 3 starts in 3 hours, and it was a very minor start. And I just had my book with me. I did not have access to a photocopier to make a working copy, and I hadn't thought to do it before I went. So what that means is I couldn't mark off what I stitched, but I started with her face and right in the center of the piece around her neck and collar, and went on up and started that hair. Well, that hair is confetti crazy, let me tell you. So today I took the time to take my working copy and my colored pencil and mark everything I'd stitched. And I had to count, make sure, look, did I get it right? And then I could mark off this collar and stuff fairly easily. So once I did that, I could tell that I had 2 colors left to finish in her hair, on the outer edges of her hair. I hadn't gotten all the way through with every color. And I think I had had run out of time when I was stitching on it with my new start, so I didn't finish her hair. And the next time I stitched on it, I just came down here and started here because I didn't want to fool with trying to figure out what I had done and what I hadn't done. So I bit the bullet this morning, and I did that, which was great. So that's 110 stitches. It was 1 color of the hair that was left, and then this dark red around the sleeves. And I've got 1 more little color of hair to finish out, and then some shading into the beginning of that white heart around her that are her, I think they're meant to be her wings, her angel wings. But anyway, I may even leave that out and just do her holding the Christmas tree, because I think it is so cute, but and make it an ornament. So there you go. That's the progress there. The second thing I did this morning was to hit another prompt. So in my, I'm looking to see which acrostic this is. It's in the 24 Hours of Cross Stitch. It's the Rocky Travels. So it's for the L in Travels. And I decided to work on my Little House Needleworks. And I decided to work on Neighborhood Friends. I'll remind you what that looks like. This is an old freebie pattern, and I've mentioned before, but in case you didn't catch that one, there's now a new release of this same pattern, but the wording at the bottom says Neighborhood Dog Show. So I think that's really cute. I decided to go ahead today and finish out the top portion of this piece. The last time I worked on it, I did this puppy dog, but I remembered that this portion, this whole set of leaves and all of these little berries had not been stitched on this side. So I went ahead and did that, and then the only thing left on this side was this little birdhouse. And then I went ahead and put in the eyes, nose, and whiskers on the cat so that the top portion up here is complete. I'm excited about that. That was just a little extra work on this one to meet the need for the letter L in Little House Needleworks. And I stitched 226 stitches in it today because I just wanted to finish up the top, and I didn't really have a number of stitches that were required. So I went back to my old standard of 200, and then it only took 26 more stitches to finish the whole thing. So I finished the top off, and I think it's looking great. So I am now about to leave the house. My husband is finished hiking for the day, and he's going to meet me for lunch, and I will cook our dinner tonight so that, you know, I've got that thawing out ready to go. But this will give me a little break at lunch. I need to mail my pattern that Julia won, and I'm going to put that in the mail today. So I hope that everything's going great with you, and I hope to see you soon. And I have more stitching to share with you, maybe even today if possible. Happy stitching, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Dina, and this is my channel about cross stitch. And this morning on August the 8th, I wanted to share with you the results of all the voting that has taken place for my new starts for 2026. Thank you so many of you for voting and letting me know what your picks would be in the 3 categories that I had asked you to help me with. And I will now tell you the results. So in the first category, it was a Halloween small that I wanted to stitch, and you were helping me pick which one of my kits that I had been gifted by my Lake House Stitchers I was going to start first. And so the winner is Stay Spooky. Now these were close. A couple of these were close, but this one was the winner by several votes, 2 or 3 votes. So I'm happy about that. And I had mentioned before I was going to do a blue shade of fabric so that I didn't have to cross stitch all this background, because this is full coverage. So I'm cheating a little bit, and I am going to use Banshee, which is a hand dyed by Stephanie pattern. It even has those beautiful oranges and purpley look to it that you will find in the pattern. So imagine just the black, white, orange colors on this fabric. I think it's going to look really pretty. And then I will cut out the shape and put it on a board, a little mounting board, a real thin one, because Kristen also gave us the pumpkin to mount it on, and it's already painted and ready to go. So once I stitch it, I'll be able to fully finish it very, very easily, which will be great. So that is the winner, Stay Spooky. I have that in a project bag that was made for me by my friend Sue. She gifted one to several of us that were at a stitching meetup at my house a while back, and this is the one she made for me, and I just love it. Absolutely adore it. Isn't that beautiful? So, and I believe my friend Lisa made us these zipper pulls to go with our bags. So that's the Halloween choice. Now, the second grouping that you were to help me pick was something to do with stitching. And I had a lot of choices in that, and they ran the gamut, but there were a couple of pieces that really stood out, and this one edged its way out to the very top. So the one who won was Stitchy Tear. Now, originally I had said this, you were helping me pick this to stitch it with the Determined Stitchers, because we're going to do a stitch along on something that's sewing related. But my friend Donna is in that group as well, and she had asked me recently, after I asked you guys to vote on this one, if I would start the stitching row with her for the Determined Stitchers. So I'll be starting this one for the Determined Stitchers group with my friend Donna. I've got to kit it up. I've just pulled it out. But this is the one I will be starting as a result of your voting. And so it will just be my stitching themed piece that I want to work on. And the good thing is it's quite small. It's going to fit in about a 4x6, I think, frame when I get it done. I find that hard to imagine, but it tells on the back that if you did it on 28 count Lugana, which is what they did, this was light taupe Lugana, that it would come out to be 4.36 by 6.5 inches. And when I'm doing mine on 32 count, so mine's going to be slightly less. And I did the calculations, and I think it would fit in a 4x6 frame. So we shall see. But I am going to stitch mine on a remnant of linen that I got at the Silver Needle for $1. And therefore I don't know the color, but I thought it matched the color very well from the picture. So I think everything's gonna play well on it, and I know the white's gonna pop on there, but it's all DMC. I haven't pulled the colors yet, but I'll be doing that before long and get it fully kitted. I'll probably do that later today. Then the third choice that you were helping me with, was for a gift for my sister, my next stitch that I want to start for her gift. So Stephanie, I'll need you to look away, please. And this one was wonderful. There were a lot of votes in this category, and 2 of them were tied, but this one pulled ahead, and this is the one that was chosen. And I am doing it on a remnant of fabric that is a Belfast linen in the color Sand. And I think that's going to look really, really pretty on there. Now, I pulled out the colors for this, and I have to tell you, one of the colors does not match the picture at all. In the picture, you see there's this gray color here, but in my color choices, there was no gray. And the color that was listed on the back, there was no gray. So I went looking, and I found the color I wanted to use, and I am going to use a gray for that because I think it's just beautiful that way. And okay, Stephanie, you can look back now. So those are the first 3 of my new starts that I'm going to plan for 2026. And thank you so much for helping me pick them out. I think that was so much fun. I might do it again. So I may look to see what I would like to do for maybe a seasonal piece, either for an autumn or a spring and summer or something like that. I very well may also pull out a Valentine's selection and maybe even an Easter selection and let you help me pick those. So look forward to that. I'd like to do that, I think, because it was just so much fun having you tell me what you'd like to see. And I like them all, so any of them was a winner to me. So there you go. I hope that we'll have this segment in again soon, and you'll have a whole nother batch to vote on. So thank you so much for doing that. I'm going to get busy stitching now. First, I'm going to walk Coco, and then I'll get busy stitching. So my bingo call for today is to stitch on one of my Christmas in July pieces. And so I will pull out one of those and get started on it. Happy stitching, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. Well, I wanted to share with you my stitching for today before I take a break and go fix dinner and have movie time with my husband tonight. So my first stitching today was for my bingo call, and I misspoke on my previous little video. I said that it was called for a Christmas whip, but it wasn't. It was an acrostic whip. Just turns out this one is Christmas as well, but it was for an acrostic, and in this case the acrostic is the daily 30, which requires 300 stitches. So I knew I needed to put at least 300 stitches into my Christmas trees and Stitching Please by Primrose Cottage. And this is actually standing for P, which could be in the title of where it says please, or it could stand for Primrose Cottage. So I had a double whammy on this one to make it hit for the P. And today I didn't put just 300 stitches in it. I put in 423 stitches because I wanted to go ahead and finish out the word trees. So I just made that my goal. I knew if I had at least enough stitches in it, that would be fine, but I didn't mind going over because that got that whole line done. There's a tree over here that goes all the way up and down that margin, but this was the next motif that I wanted to finish. So this is the first one I did. This is going to be the second one, and I'm going to just cut these right in half, and I'm going to make them pillows to go together. So that's why they're so close together. So now that left me open to stitch whatever I wanted to stitch. And today I actually went with my husband. He was going to do a short run today, only about 45 minutes or so. And so he asked if I would like to take stitching with me and stitch in the car, wait for him to run, and then we could go have lunch together and go to Costco together and all kinds of things. So that's what we decided to do. And I decided, since today is World Cross Stitch Day, happy World Cross Stitch Day, all of you, I would take a piece to stitch on that was about cross stitch. So I pulled out my hands-on design, Love My Stitching, and I am stitching this with the hopes of making it into some sort of bag. So I really love that. I think that's such a neat way to do it. So today I put in 219 stitches working on this, waiting on my hubby, and then when I got home, I wanted to finish out the motif. So I did part of the word needle while we were sitting there letting him, run. And then when I got home, I finished up the word needle, did the needle underneath, and did the little thread. Now, I did mine in satin stitch. I'm not sure you can tell, but that's what that is. And I did that because I think it looks more like a thread bobbin to do it that way. But I'm not going to do the back stitching or the single stitching of the thread all around yet. It comes off the spool and comes around and goes through the needle. I'll do that last because I'm going to have this in and out of a Q-snap over and over and over again, stitching on it. And I don't need it to mess up that little straight stitch. So I'll wait and do that. But 219 extra stitches, and now there's only one thing left over on this side, and that is the word linen, but it is stitched like the word floss. It's in relief, so you actually stitch all around it, the blue all around it, to form the word. So that's how linen is going to look over here. And then that will complete the whole first row when I get that word in. So anyway, that was my stitching for today. So tomorrow is our stitching meetup at the library. And I'm looking forward to that. I need to look for something to stitch when I go there. And so I want to look through some other things to see what I might could do, to see if I can take something with me for an acrostic. And if not, then that's okay. I'll just take something that's easy to stitch on, because all the stitches going in are good, right? You still want to make progress no matter what you have. But this is one I have taken with me before. And so it is a contender to go with me. There's a possibility it might go with me. But I got to see what all my other whips are and what I might want to work on that I haven't worked on yet. Another one that I've taken with me quite a bit to the stitching meetup is Ode to a Good Dog. And that might be another one I could take with me to the library. So we shall see. Anyway, I'm going to say goodnight here now since it's time for me to go make dinner for my hubby and I. And then we're going to do sort of a TV watching movie night together, and then I'll do my stitching all day tomorrow. So looking forward to it. I hope you've had a great week. I've had a very good week personally, but I've had some friends who've been through some really tough times. So just know that there are people out here who are hurting, who have had loss in their family. One of our stitching friends passed away in her sleep last weekend. It was quite a shock to everybody. You know, that was just quite sudden, and we will miss her. And then, you know, there's been a lot of information out there about some of our friends that are in our stitching world. You know, Priscilla and Chelsea talked about her situation recently. You know, Callie from the two cousins, you know, that do their floss tube together, Floss Boss and Cousins. So, you know, none of us are immune to having things going on in our lives. And so just know that, you know, you're in our thoughts and prayers. And I hope that stitching is a balm to your soul. In the meantime, though, I hope that all of you are healthy and are able to stitch and can use that as your wonderful relaxation or reward for making it through the week. And I hope that you have a great weekend this weekend. Happy stitching, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. It is later on August the 8th, and I am here to ask for your help with voting again. I've decided that I want to start at least one new start next year for spring, one for summer, and one for Easter. I've concentrated so much on Christmas so far this year that I think next year I need to be concentrating on a few more holidays. So I have picked some of my stash. Some are older pieces, some are brand new. And I'm going to ask you to vote one in each category. Please, only one in each category. So this is category 1, and this is spring. So the first one is going to be spring delivery. This is an oldie but goodie. I've never stitched it, but I've seen it quite a bit. So that's spring delivery, scattered seed samplers. This is Easter Parade by Blackbird Designs. And my thought is to do the bunny. So Easter Parade by Blackbird Designs. Or this new one by Janine McGowan, The Blue Flower, Seasons of the Heart, Spring. So once again, please vote for one of these, either Spring Delivery, Easter Parade, or Seasons of the Heart, Spring. So that's what I have put in my spring category. And then for my Easter selections, I have 2 Shannon Christine designs. I bought both of them. I haven't stitched either one of them. And then 1 Lizzie Kate. So let's start with the Lizzie Kate. And it's simply a little Easter. And then the 2 Shannon Christine designs. This one's the first one. It's Easter's on its way. It says hippity hoppity, Easter's on its way. And this one is another Shannon Christine design that she's called Hippity Hoppity. And it also says Hippity Hoppity, Easter's on its way. So one is a square piece with a lot of different motifs on it. And the other one is a long rectangular piece. So let's divide them up this way. Let's call this one Easter's on its way. And this one Hippity Hoppity, since that's what they have on the pattern. They obviously would look nice together, but I need for you to pick one of those 3. So Easter, A Little Easter by Lizzie Kate, or Easter's on its way, or Hippity Hoppity. So if you'll vote for which one of those you would like to see me start next year, I would appreciate it. And the last category is summer for me. And I have probably 6 patterns by Primrose Cottage that are in this colorway, theme, series, whatever you want to call. It's the bee thing. So the first one is Be Nice. It says Be Nice or Buzz Off, but we'll call it Be Nice. And the second one is Summer Wishes and Bumblebee Kisses, and we'll call it Bumblebee Kisses or Kisses. You could just shorten it to Kisses if you want to. I'll know which one you're talking about. And the last one is Kind Words Are Like Honey, Sweet to the Soul. And we'll call that Kind Words. Now my intention is, if I stitch this and I really like it, I'll probably stitch like a whole grouping of these to go in a big dough bowl. But I got to get started to get going on it. So if you'll vote for one of those 3, I'll go through them one more time. Be Nice. Kisses. Kind Words. They're very similar. Just depends on which one you like as far as the saying or the layout or something of that nature. So those are the next 3 categories I'd like for you to help me with new starts for next year. And I appreciate you doing that so very much. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Coco's here with me this morning. I'm getting ready to go to my stitching meetup, but I wanted to share with you some stitching that I accomplished late yesterday evening into the night last night. I wasn't sleepy, so I just stayed up and stitched probably till midnight. But I had a prompt that was actually listed in 2 of my Acrostics, 24-hour of cross stitch. This was for the O in Rocky Travels. And it's also the E in Paper Piece, the last E, for Ellen Reed, who is the designer of Ode to a Good Dog. And I wanted to work on this. I want to try to work on it some every month until I finish it. And so I put in 302 stitches because it was in the Daily 30 group, Paper Piece. And that requires 300 stitches. So I actually did 302 and I stopped there because it was midnight, but I'll show you what I did. I finished the bottom row of texts. I had to just put in the last 2 words there and the comma. And then while I was over there in my Q-snap, I brought that vine on down. I put in another flower, 2 more leaves, and the beginnings of the next 2 flowers. So I've almost got it as far down on that side as I had on the other. So I'm getting there. And then this will, let me show you where that'll put us. That puts us right here with the word head. And these 2 flowers are where I've kind of taken the border to. So what you can see now is with these next 2 lines of text, I'll be ready to start this portion of this pattern. I'm looking so forward to that. Anyway, I wanted to share that with you. I'm going to take a picture of it. I'm going to post it in my Daily 30 group this morning, and then I'll head off to the stitching meetup. My bingo call for today is to stitch on a Christmas in July whip. So I had already decided to take with me one of my Christmas pieces to work on at the library, Woodland Wonder. And that was one of my Christmas pieces. So the first 100 stitches I put in that today, I'll stop and take a picture. That'll be for my bingo game. And then I can keep going and work on it because I need to get 300 stitches in it today for the Daily 30 group acrostic. And for that one, I'm doing it for the P in the second word, paper piece. That second P is for Glendon Place, and that's the designer of the Woodland Wonder. And so that's why I need that one for my acrostics. So I don't know that I'll get all 300 today. I don't always get 300 stitches when I'm working at the library because I talk and visit and host everything. So I'll see how far I get. But at least I know what my plan of attack is. I've got my marching orders, and I will take it with me and go from there. So I'm gonna I've got all my stitchy stuff loaded downstairs into my totes, and I got my wagon ready to go, and Donna's gonna swing by and pick me up this morning. So I'm looking forward to that. So I wanna get ready, be sure I'm standing by the door when she shows up, and I will talk to you hopefully this evening and share with you a little bit about the day and what I was able to accomplish at the Stitching Meetup. I hope you have a great Saturday. Happy stitching, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It is August 9th. It's Saturday. It's later on the 9th because I recorded a little segment this morning about the stitching I had done last night. Today was our stitching meetup at the library, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about it because it was so much fun. So today we had 30 people show up to stitch with us. We had a young girl who stopped by with her mom, and they walked through the room and looked at what everybody was working on. And it was interesting because she never wanted to sit down and let anybody show her how to stitch, but what she wanted to know is could she put a ticket for the raffle against one of the things that was already stitched, which was the brag table. And we said, no, those aren't being given away today. She was so cute. But don't know if she's a future stitcher or what, but she and her mom spent quite a bit of time in there today. And a lot of the ladies took time to talk with them and show them what they were working on. And the group was just very welcoming and friendly to everyone. It makes it so nice to be a part of a group like that. So another thing that happened today is that several members brought things to share. So I always try to have goodies for a raffle. I'll have anywhere from 5 to 9 items on the table. Sometimes I give away patterns I've finished stitching that I think someone else might enjoy. I have people mail me packages at times and say, use this for yourself or for your stitching group or a giveaway. And so I get things from there. I even look at freebie tables and try to find things that I think some of the ladies in my group might like, and I'll put those on a raffle table. So we had 9 items on the raffle table today, and as luck would have it, one of the ladies who came in today said, I don't know what you want to do with this. I have 2 complete tote bags, big hand bags, full of Ada fabric. And she said, I've moved on. I'm not stitching on Ada anymore. I'm on to Lugana and linen. And she said, but I have all this Ada, and I know we have some Ada stitchers, and I'd like to offer it to anybody who wants it. So I took the 2 bags and I hid them under the table, and I asked for a show of hands, who all like to stitch on Ada? And I had several people raise their hands. I was surprised. And I said, great, I need all of you to make your way to the freebie table because we have a surprise. And I pulled out the 2 bags and I carried them over there, and everybody was squealing and running to the freebie tables. It was great. So everybody got to go through and pick any of that they wanted. And it was so nice of Linda to bring her Ada that she was getting ready to destash and let the group, take what they wanted from it. Another one of the ladies in our group told me that she had made project bag tags for everybody there that wanted one. And what she had done was go to Vistaprint, have little business card size pieces of tags, printed up. They have a beautiful fall picture on one side, and on the other side she had designed just a grid of information. So it had project name, who it was stitched by, the fabric it was being used, what threads were used, the date it was started, the date it was finished. And so it could actually be your whole project card if you track things like that. And she had clear luggage tags for them to fit in once she filled them out. So she didn't put them together because she wanted you to be able to write on them before you slid them in there. And there was a little tag, little plastic tie that you could put through the tag and then loop around onto your project bag handle or zipper pull so that you could put those on project bags. And she said they're very helpful when you have a project bag that's not vinyl, that's all fabric, because then you don't have to open the bag to see what's inside. You can actually write on the card and you just flip your cards around and see what they are. It was a great idea. Everybody loved it, and so everybody got to go pick up one of those. The other thing that happened today is that one of our ladies, Lisa, had brought us a freebie pattern, and it's for a humbug. And we had talked about it back in probably April or May that did anyone want to do this? And a lot of people did. It's a Halloween picture. It's a freebie pattern. And she got the pattern and had copies made and said, but if you'd rather have a PDF, I've got that downloaded. It's a free pattern. I can share it with you. And so she was doing that right at the library with anybody who'd rather have it electronically. And those of us who wanted paper copies just went and got a copy of the pattern. But it's a triangular finish, a humbug. And so it would be finished in the same way you would finish one of those groovy chickens. But it'll teach you in a small way that technique. And so we're all going to stitch it, and when we come back in October, we're going to skip the month of September because a bunch of us are at retreat in September. But in October, you'll bring your stitch piece in, and Lisa's going to show everybody how to properly finish it. I think that's exciting. So it has been a lovely, lovely day. I will share with you, I got much more stitching done in the afternoon after lunch because we stay till 4:30. And I was able to hit my goals for the day, and I'll share those with you now. So today's call on my bingo call was to stitch on a Christmas whip. And I looked at what I had in my acrostics to see if I had a Christmas whip left to stitch on in the acrostics, and I did. I needed to stitch on Woodland Wonder from Glendon Place. I had this in my daily 30 group for 300 stitches, so I needed to stitch 300 stitches on it today. For bingo, it's only 100, but for the daily 30 group, it was 300, and I was using this Woodland Wonder for a P in the daily 30 word of paper piece, but the P is for Glendon Place, the designer, and that's one of the things you can use to match up your whips with the prompt. So today I wound up putting in 323 stitches in here, and this is what I accomplished. I had originally started one color in the border and had gone across and down one side. So today I went down the other side with that color, picked out another color in the border, the darker green, and I did that all the way around. And then I picked up the white and I started doing snowflakes across here. And I got to my 323 stitches right about 420. But I got it done. I'm excited. So while I was at the stitching meetup with this today, it was such a popular pattern. My friend Donna looked over and said, I have that in my stash. I should start that with you. And I said, you should. And then a lady around the corner looked at it and said, I really like that. I wouldn't mind starting it with y'all. And we said, come along. And then across the table from us, my friend Sue said, I think I have that in my stash too. I ought to get it out. And I said, yes, you should, because Sue did the Christmas in July stitching with us. And she said she stitched everything she was supposed to, but she missed one new start. So guess what? I said, here's your new start you missed. It's Christmas and it's a new start. And she said, oh yeah. So she's going to start it with us as well. So we decided we would all be back together again, this group that's going to start this. We will all be at the retreat at Garon Stitchery in September. So we're bringing this. I will continue working on mine, and everyone else will have a new start. So I made the commitment to the group today that I will not stitch another stitch on this until I see them in September, so that I don't get any further ahead of the group. And we will be able to really stitch on it a lot together, which will be fun. And I am going to wish you happy stitching, and hopefully I'll be able to show you more things I've stitched tomorrow. Whatever I do, I'll share it with you. Happy stitching, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. Today is Sunday. It is the 10th of August. Boy, this month is going quick, isn't it? Anyway, welcome back. Come on in. Sit down. Stay a while. Stitch with me. I have been stitching a little bit this morning, a lot this afternoon. My husband and I had a very different day today. After our church obligations this morning, we rushed out to have a quick lunch and went to a nearby town called Dahlonega, Georgia, because there was an Air Force Reserve touring jazz ensemble, and it was really sort of like a mini orchestra. They have 61 members in their full orchestra, and today probably had about half of them there, I would say. Anyway, it was considered modern jazz, and they had two soloists, and their musicians are fabulous. And it was great to hear them because my husband and I used to live in Warner Robins, Georgia, where there was an Air Force base, and we got to hear their orchestras, their traveling bands every year. That was sort of a Christmas staple for us. And they have not traveled since 2019. So this year was the first time that the Air Force band had sent anybody out on a little tour since 2019. So we wanted to be a part of it, and it was a free concert, and we went, and we were able to get a seat, and so I was really excited to do that with my husband because he just loves it. We walked around the square in Dahlonega, and they have a Kilwin's ice cream there, so we got a little ice cream. But it was a great, great afternoon. Then when I got home, I had to hit my stitching pretty hard because I had a big goal for today. Today's goal was to finish the final prompt in the Daily 30 group weekly challenge of embroidery hoops. And I wanted to definitely do that one because I wrote that one. So I wanted to participate with it. And the final piece that I had to stitch on was to stitch on something that you could finish in a hoop, which is how I plan on finishing this possibly. So I'm going to have to ask my sister to look away because this one's one of hers. I'll remind you guys what I'm stitching on. And you'll notice the shape of the finish there. And I have been saving something in my project bag in case I want to use it for my finishing of this. So it definitely met the criteria. But the stitching count for that prompt was 400 stitches. And when I left this morning to go to lunch with my husband, I only had 110 stitches in it. So I was able to count it for my bingo game as well, because my bingo prompt today was to stitch on something that's a gift. And this is a gift for my sister. So here's where I got to. Isn't that gorgeous? I tell you what, this latest stitching that I did just is making that come to life. when I finished those today, it was like, wow, what a difference that made. So I'm excited. I am still trying to do, the sides that mirror each other. I'm still trying to do them as I'm stitching together if I can. Now, I don't know if I can keep doing that because this has such a wide girth in here before I'm finished with it. But I think that's looking fabulous. Okay, Steph, you can look back now. Thank you for looking away. So, that is great. Now I'm looking at what's left of my requirements that I want to stitch on this month. As you know, I still have to put 500 stitches in autumn in the village. But I only have a couple more prompts for my acrostics, one of which is Isabel's Garden and the other is Peacock. And in each case, I need 300 stitches because they are both in my daily 30 group. So I have all month to do that. So I'm not in a big rush. I'm okay. I'm doing great. It's only the 10th of the month. So today I'm going to spend some time straightening up. I've got some floss I need to bobbinate. I've got bags I need to reorganize over here because adding in all those Christmas projects, I've completely overwhelmed my storage system over here. And I'm going to have to kind of shuffle everything around and reassign a bin because now I need 2 bins for Christmas. I have so many Christmas projects. I need 2 of those. And I need to do a little bit of just straightening up and cleaning up in here. So I want to get that done today before I sit down and stitch anymore today. And then I'll have to decide what I want to stitch on. But whatever I decide, I will share it with you at least by tomorrow anyway. Please, if you haven't already, take time to vote on the pieces that I shared earlier. That has helped me tremendously. And I'm looking forward to hearing which ones you like. So until I have more stitching to share with you or more activities to tell you about, please enjoy every stitch you make. Happy stitching. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. This is Dina here this morning to talk with you a little bit about the stitching that I've gotten done so far. Well, yesterday evening, I decided I would do a little bit of straightening and organizing, and I got that done, and my husband decided he was going to take Coco for a nice long walk, so I settled back in to do some stitching. And I pulled out Peacock. This is one of the pieces that I needed for an acrostic. I needed this for the P in paper piece, the very first P in paper piece in the Daily 30 group. So I pulled it out and I needed 300 stitches in it, but I decided I would make a small goal for myself as long as I got 300 stitches in it. But my main purpose was to finish a feather. This really is more the body, I guess, of the bird, but I wound up, I had stitched probably up to about right here in this big feather. I had all of this done, the lighter blue, and I had part of this done up to about right here. So I stitched the rest of the body of the bird. Oh, it's just loving these colors. They're so beautiful. But this is 474 stitches added in to Peacock. And so I was looking at it trying to figure out how am I going to process this the rest of the way. And I think it's going to be fairly easy. So I have completed this big section right in here. And now what you see left are all these feathers that are wrapped around. So I think what I may do is just each time I pull it out, do at least one complete feather until I get all of them done. Some of them are small. I might could do 2 in a stitching session. These are in little pairs. But that's kind of how I'm looking at it. And so I think that will make it something I could possibly finish next year. So there you have it. So far, how I'm coming along on Peacock. This is just for me. This is for a box top for me to use in my bedroom just as part of my decor. So there's no big date that I need it by. So I have plenty of time to stitch on it. I don't have to hurry. I can just put it in for an acrostic. And if I need it in the daily 30, I will always put it in there because it'll make me do at least 300 stitches in it. And then maybe I'll be inspired, like I was this time, to do an entire section. So today's bingo call is the next thing that I'm going to start on. And today's bingo call is to stitch on my oldest whip. So last night when I saw the call, I pulled out my project cards and I just double checked to make sure that I was pulling out the oldest whip. Now that I finished some of my older things, Nativity used to be my oldest whip. Well, now Autumn in the Village is my oldest whip. I started it in June of 2022. So I'm excited that I've gotten all the way to 2022 to be my oldest. I have 2 projects I started in 2022 that are on the go. One is from June, and the second one is from December, and that's Let Love Rain, and it was my birthday start that year in 22. So that's a great, only to have 2 left from 2022, I think is really good. So I'm going to put Peacock away. Just stitching her on a remnant of fabric. I'm going to put this one away though, and I'm going to pull out Autumn in the Village because Autumn in the Village is not only needed for my bingo for 100 stitches. It's one of my monthly requirements. I have set the goal for myself to put 500 stitches in Autumn in the Village. I think that'll make a big difference. I'm hoping so. Anyway, my desire is to get it done today. I hope I do. And if I do, whatever I get done on it, I will come and share it with you. Happy stitching, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is Dina. It is a little bit later on the 11th of August. I always have to check the date on my computer. That's why I look over there. I wanted to let you know that I have been working most of the day. It is 3:30 and I have been working since early this morning. Took a break, walked Coco, cooked my breakfast. My husband had a men's breakfast and he had a haircut and he was doing a hike. So we got together at lunch and so I did take a short break for lunch. But other than that, I have been stitching since about 7 this morning on this because I wanted to hit a couple of different prompts for it. The first one is my bingo prompt, and my bingo prompt was to stitch on my oldest whip, as I mentioned. And my oldest whip is Autumn in the Village. And this is my only whip on 36 count. And I'm loving it. It's beautiful. It's on a pre-printed fabric that has gorgeous little confetti specks in it, like fall leaves. So I think it just fits this really, really well. But I had to put in 500 stitches to meet my monthly requirement in this, even though I only needed 100 stitches for my bingo. So I took my first 111 stitches. I took a picture and I posted it in my bingo because I wasn't sure if I was going to get all 500 today. But as it turned out, my husband took Coco to the park. They were hiking together. The sun came out a little bit, so we're trying to get her out whenever we can between raindrops, as we say. And it gave me time to get more stitching done. So I put in 505 stitches. And it's 5:05 because that's when I ran out of my floss. So let me show you what I've done. I hope you can tell a big difference if you've been watching, because when you saw it last, I had finished on this part of the house, and I hadn't even done all of the top up here. I had just finished mostly coming across the porch with the scarecrow laying there with the pumpkins. So today I came across here. I did the pumpkin that's by the porch. I did the bushes, the lamp. I did the entire cart of pumpkins, and there are several pumpkins in there. They'll pop a little bit better once they're back stitched. The spokes of the wheel are back stitching. So there's a lot of back stitching, as you know, that goes into Stoney Creek patterns. And then I went down in the block down there in the little bordered in where it says autumn is the second summer. Well, the wording was there and the vine was there, but none of the leaves were there. So I put all the leaves in. So if you're tracking along with me, most of these 500 stitches were confetti. Almost all of them were. I think this wheel right here was probably the most stitches I had in the same color at any given time. There are 3 colors even in this little leg of the cart. There are several colors in the pumpkins. There are even several colors in the lantern. I didn't count them, but I know there's at least 7 or 8 in there. You know, 2.5 stitches here, 3 stitches there. That's how I got to 505 stitches. But that is why it took the better part of an entire day. So I am really stoked. I'm very, very happy to be able to share with you my progress. Putting 500 stitches in a piece really makes a difference. And so I thank the Determined Stitchers and Ann Wheeler, who's heading that up, for for talking me into doing these yearly goals and monthly goals like that are bigger than normal, because it really has helped me push my pieces forward. I love it because I am now finished with, that is the end of that side, and this house is the middle. So I now have 3 houses and a lamppost left. So here's what I've gotten done all the way to here. And I even have that little house that's peeking right there. So I have 3 houses and a lamppost, and I'll be at this end. And then, of course, I've got the trees in the background. And all the back stitching. That back stitching is going to be a lot. I have toyed with trying to go ahead and back stitch, like I was going to back stitch this house once I finished everything on the 2 sides of it. But because I stitch for prompts and you can only count back stitch, I only count it 1 cross stitch per every 2 back stitches. So I have to do double the amount of stitches, or because I'm putting my needle up and down for a back stitch just like I am for the leg of a cross stitch. But it just takes longer. And so I tend to, when I have to get a big number like 500 stitches, I wanted to be cross stitching. And then once I got started on this end down here and I saw how confetti heavy it was, I said, it's okay. I want to go to the end. I want to finish that little vignette except for the back stitching, and I'll just see how many stitches it gives me. And so when I finished all the way out to here, finished the whole cart and the lamp and everything, I needed 20 stitches, 20, to get to 500. So I went on by the house and I started the tree trunk. That dark brown is part of a tree trunk that goes up above the houses. So now from the bottom up to about right here, it's finished all the way on this side. And now I can, do the top part of the house and the tree in the next couple of times that I pick it up. And then I can go down here and tackle that end. It is a long-term project. I don't anticipate this one being finished this year, perhaps next year, but not this year. I've got other goals that I want to push forward more for this year, and I'm really enjoying this one. It's a lovely stitch. I don't want to rush it. I think it's going to be just gorgeous when it's completed, and the back stitching is going to make a world of difference. I'm tempted to do some of it just so you can see it, but I think you all know that from stitching yourself. So that's the stitching so far today. Don't know what I'm gonna stitch next. I'm gonna take a little break, just rest a little bit, because I have a Zoom call tonight and I'll be stitching on that Zoom call. So I need to stitch on something that I can work on while I'm talking to other people. So I need to take a break and kind of figure out what that's gonna be. But in the meantime, until we can talk again, until I have more stitching to share with you, happy stitching, everybody.
So very excited, waiting for our pup cup. This other car is way too slow. Move it, buddy, move it.